back, spawn of Satan.
Oh, really?
Yeah, live from Memphis Monster Con, we are back, back in black, as it were. Myself, Reaper, and of course, my illustrious undead co-pilot, Mortimer Deadfellow. It has been an epic fucking day for indie horror and horror as a whole. Memphis has been just fucking crazy amazing. Definitely for its first year, what a fucking turnout. Fan-fucking-tastic, man.
Awesome.
And I'm unfortunately we could not do the goddamn program tonight. A lot goes into that show, and I absolutely have to have time to stop getting people with the pitchfork in order to get it all together. So we are going to go ahead and do that tomorrow night. So tonight I did not want to leave you with nothing. And since this has been an epic day for horror, we are here back on the Backyard Barbecue. And what do we have for them tonight, brother?
We have, well, our favorites, more of teasings to introduce you to it, to get your mind to go, but the top 10 silent killers.
Yes, absolutely. Something that really hasn't been touched upon. And in our findings, just going back over the last 40 years, this is a broad topic. We thought this would be a lot easier, but I knew once Mortimer said, let's tip our hats to the silent fellows that
That's always able to watch.
Doozies, man. Oh, they're so good. But before we get into this madness, I want, hey, what's happening, Dustin? Lizzie in the house. And then I'm sure you saw fellow Morgrot Entertainment, Cody Gray in the background.
The Defiler.
Oh, exactly. Is here as well. And so is Rebecca. Hopefully we're not talking about bleached assholes tonight. But you never know what might happen. Dustin says hi. But hell yeah, we've got some seriously good picks for you guys tonight. So I cannot wait to get into this list. But before we get into all this madness, we're going to take a quick commercial break to our brothers over in the UK at Poison Valley Scareware. Check that shit out. That's right. You know what y'all need to do. You know what to do, because I tell you every week. Definitely get over there and see what David is cooking up at poisonvalleyscareware.com. High quality original horror art. And he does custom too. So if you have a wonderful, spooky dooky, horrifically beautiful idea, he can bring this to life for you. Super fast shipping, low price, super high quality. And as all of you are coming in, I want you to share this out. Share it out anywhere and everywhere that there is a horror lover or a silent killer that you might truly enjoy and want to let people know. And those of you that are out in the comments section, we want to hear some of your choices too throughout the night. We love that shit. Interact with us because we're only doing 10. We damn sure know that there's a lot more than just 10 in the realm of silent killers of all time. And we did refrain, but we, of course, dearly note all of the greats that you already know. Jason, Michael, just to name a few. And there's more than that. Yes. Dustin says, if you don't have a Lon Chaney Sr. character, I will be stunned. I mean, that's kind of a given too, in my opinion, but definitely honorable mention because we want to try to bring some new fresh blood into the mix. All right. What do you have for him first there, Brother Mortimer?
Well, I thought I would give everyone a little taste of another mustachioed fellow. Silent Rage, 1982. Chuck Norris.
Wow! I'm sure you all just literally got fucking drop kicked at this particular pick. Now let's go ahead and tell them why you chose this one. First of all, if Chuck Norris is in it, he can do anything. He is unstoppable.
I picked this one because, first off, there is a killer in the movie that doesn't talk. But the killer has a certain unique ability because of something done to him. And once it explains why the killer keeps getting back up. But it damaged their mind, so they'll never be a person, they'll always be a killing machine. And the only thing that stands between them and the innocent people is Chuck Norris's mustache.
Right? Fear the stash. We should hashtag that shit for the night. Most definitely. I mean, you know, a lot of people don't realize this, but a lot of the super big icons of action films did a lot of thriller films that still had all the badassery, all the kicks, all the fucking spinning back heel kicks and judo chops from hell. Stallone even did one called Cobra, which had a prolific killer in it as well, who did not speak as well. At least not when he was killing. He didn't speak much at all. Brian Thompson, man, one of my favorite all-time fucking villains. Every villain he ever played was just bad fucking ass.
He was Buffalo Bob and Joe Dirt.
He was. Still that fucking jaw from hell.
Yeah.
Always feels like he could snap your neck with it.
Looked like he's always angry, like he's clenching it. Like a clench. Just
you can see the muscles, you know, just I'd hate to be his dinner.
Now, for this film, though, we have quite a few interesting people that show up in this film that deserve a mention. One would be Ron Silver.
Yes.
Who had a prolific career. And then we also have William Finley from Phantom of the Paradise. We have Winslow. So, and you get quite a few people that pop up in this film that have been that showed up in other movies later down the line. But it's Chuck Norris at Chuck Norris's best.
I mean, Is there anything better?
That's pretty much what it is. I'm a Texas sheriff.
Fuck
And I'm the
yeah.
only one that can stop this killer with my karate.
Dustin here says Chuck Norris doesn't go swimming. Water just wants to be around him. Epic rap battles of history. Yes. I mean, I know we've all seen the hellaciously awesome memes.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, let me grab something here real quick. Just so
Chuck Norris does not sleep.
before I do my
He
first
just
bit.
waits.
See, and just like that, the devil is back. All right. Sweet. Here we go. So for my first pick, and mind you guys, this is not in any particular order. It's just who we went with, who we chose. So my first one, and since you started back in an excellent fucking time,
Oh, I love
there
it.
are there are, let me see, so many amazing silent killers that have come out of the late 70s, actually now almost to the mid 70s, let's say that too, to the late 70s, and then moving on in to the 80s, where the realm of the slasher really came to fruition. One that people, I think, count out as a silent killer is the xenomorph from the movie Alien. And I think they count it out because it's a sci-fi.
But it's meant to be sci-fi horror, though, on purpose. I mean, there's definitely a horror element to it. You can't ignore that the xenomorph, in most cases, gets a bigger body count than most slashers do in their films.
Yes.
And it does it in pure darkness most of the time. You don't know it's there. So I agree with that. I agree with that.
It was literally terrifying. I mean, when people thought of outer space up to that point, they were afraid of the unknown.
With good reason. With good reason in that case. But
with this thing coming out, this H.G. Geiger fucking monolithic creation was one of the most terrifying things that you could see in the dark every time Sigourney Weaver, the great Sigourney Weaver at that.
Oh,
she is
very
one
much
of the best final girls of all time.
Oh, yeah.
She's moving around in the darkness and you're hearing all the blips and the beeps and the shit from the shit. And this thing is moving about and not making a fucking sound until its second mouth comes out and takes a chunk.
That's like too for that one. You got Bill Paxton. You got a lot of people for that one. You got John Hurt for the original. I mean, you got a lot of people for that one. Lance Henriksen as Vicious. But he wasn't, and not technically for the first one there, but it's it all continues through the line. It was just badass actors going up against this thing that, I agree with that. I think that's a great choice, man. That was a good one.
Absolutely, because we didn't specify that they had to be human.
Well, no, of course not. No, of course not.
And like I said, I mean, it is one of the most popular sci-fi monsters of all time. But at the same token, it is a clear bridge to
it's also an ambush predator, though. It's a silent ambush predator most of the time, unless it's the queen. It sneaks up on you and attacks you and you don't know it. So it's not trying to make a lot of noise. And they show them stealthily sneak up and take somebody out all the time. So they're like Batman of monsters. What are you here for? Space justice.
Right.
Take them up into the rafters of the air ducts. So, yeah.
And
I totally agree.
Yeah. Most fucking deaf.
Oh, yeah. And there's nowhere to go.
Right.
That's the thing. I always love that catch line for movies in space. You know, no one can hear you scream, but there's also nowhere to go. There's nowhere to run.
Right. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just I don't think that if it did speak for any reason, wouldn't even bring the amount of terror that this thing does.
Yeah. Oh,
Period.
yeah. No, I agree. The way that they work it and its movements, and it's like, okay, the sheen on its skin. You know, you can almost tell. It almost feels like an artificial life form, but a very realistic human, like corrupted human.
Yes.
Shapes and things like that. You can see it in there. You can see the torment that, you know what I mean. That's what we do, and we look at things. We look for the human form in most cases, and then with the xenomorph specifically, it's a distortion of that, or or an enhancement of that. You know, by making the head elongated, and like you said, giving the second mouth, and the blood, and the tail that can get stabbed through you, or claws, and it's like there's no part of that thing that's not dangerous. So, yeah. And I think its head kind of reminds people of spiders.
Right.
Like the abdomen of a spider. And people don't like spiders. Most don't. It'll mess with them.
Exactly. Yeah. Who is your dearest number 2?
My number 2, I'm going to stay for now in the 80s. I'm pretty 80s heavy on this one, but I found gems. But this one is a very close, dear, personal one to me. I love this movie. I love the actors. I love it all. That would be My Bloody Valentine, 1981, The Miner. Because I'm going more towards of Harry Warden more than I am Axel, if you've seen it. Because Harry didn't say anything as the miner. He says not a word. And even Axel doesn't while he's in the gear of being the miner.
Right.
So, and for me, it was always just the respirator, almost like a Darth Vader vibe, but if Darth Vader didn't talk and was only the respirator.
Right.
Hearing that raspy, that breathing, exactly. But you see that coming at you.
I know it's the newer one, but
no. The video or the imagery still puts the point across. And that one, I'm not against that one. I don't like remakes most of the time. If you crap on the original, they didn't crap on the original, and they didn't act like the original didn't happen. This one was a result of the first one happening.
Right.
For that one, and I'm fine with that because they did not destroy what the first one did.
It's like the classic whodunit kind of thing. No one knew for the longest time the identity. I mean, of course, we're talking about the original.
Yes, exactly. You got the love triangle.
You know, these poor fucking,
filmed in a real mine.
Yeah. Yeah, I believe it was shot in Canada too.
Yes,
if I remember correctly.
Yes, very much so. Yep,
and great fucking actors and actresses.
Yeah. Well, that was the thing too. Is Peter Cowper that played the miner, which I've met. I've got pictures with him where he held a pickaxe right up to my neck, and he's so nice. He was so nice. Great guy, awesome guy, and it was like, where you got to go up to people, and I know you know this too, where you get to meet, people like that. And as we must say for, it's not, he wasn't a silent killer, but we got to take a moment for Tony Todd, because we lost an absolute legend, and not just in horror, just an actor and a soul.
I was going to say just the realm of film period.
Yeah.
And
stage, everything. Yeah. And it's like, he was such an artist.
Such a presence.
Yes.
And that voice.
Oh, very much so. Very, very much so. And then that's the thing. He's one of those people, same as it was with Peter, where you get to go, thank you for scaring the absolute piss out of me my whole life as a child. Thank you for it, because it's like I made friends with the monsters is how I stopped being afraid of the monsters when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
I learned how to become one myself. And then it kind of helps, and you can enjoy the films for many different reasons.
Dustin. He says, I will get a laugh if you choose the puppets from the Puppet Master franchise. I mean, they were cool as fuck, though.
It's possible, actually, because none of them do speak.
None of them do. Yep. Totally fucking works.
Yeah, they don't speak. The closest you get is, was it 6-shooter? That's all he does. And, and Blade just, I'll cut your throat. And
right.
That's it. Yeah, nobody talks. And you can't really count Leech Woman because she's just gagging.
Right.
I wouldn't consider that talking with the leech in your throat. We had some weird cures for medicine in my time, but I'm not really one to take a leech in the throat.
Right. Dustin says, excellent choice. My Bloody Valentine is one of many great Canadian horror. Absolutely. There are very much few.
It also has one of my favorite kill in a horror film.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody getting their head boiled in a pot of hot dogs.
I agree with Dustin on this. There are a handful of very good horror remakes. The Blob comes to mind.
I agree with him on that one. Of course,
The Thing. Yes.
See, The Thing, I wouldn't even call that one a remake. I really wouldn't. Because John Carpenter's Thing is a whole nother
level.
Whole nother
reimagining
on its own. Exactly. It's a whole nother idea on that concept completely. But The Blob, 100%. I love the remake of The Blob. Mm-hmm. They did great with that one. The effects on that one were amazing. And they got people literally from the movie that lived in the town to be able to shoot it there and have the blob coming down the thing just like they did in the 60s. Because the town loves it, that they're the town where the Blob was debuted and was all filmed and all that stuff. So I love that. Any town that supports their horrific past in a good way, be it film or stuff, festivals or stuff like that, I think that's amazing.
Absolutely. Alive. Hell yeah. So in this realm of silent killers, I'm going to kind of fast forward a little bit.
All right.
There are some very prolific films that have come out, especially in the early 2000s. It was like a whole new, just a whole new genre of silent killers that were multiple different things, whether it was a human or it was a creature, or in this case, a demon. So the silver screen was absolutely lit up with the screams of terror. When we first learned about the history of a demon that is asleep for 23rd spring, and he gets to eat for 23 days. And of course, we are talking about The Creeper. This fucking film had me in absolute 6s and 7s because he looked human. For the longest time, you thought this man sorry, sir, was human. He was able to make himself look like he was, drove that classic fucking truck that just, when he came up on those two young kids, Justin Long, poor Justin Long, he did not survive this at all. It was all
he does better in romantic comedies.
Right.
He gets hurt real bad in horror films.
Yeah, for sure.
Honorable mention Tusk.
Oh my God. I'm not even going there. I don't even want to talk. That movie was just fucking horrifying on its own fucking different level. Unfortunately, there wasn't that many great sequels to this film.
Sure.
The second one was not half bad, but we won't talk about the others that follow. But it was definitely something no one, I mean, as far as like writing goes, storytelling, who could have thought of such a thing? And they just knocked it out of the park and gave a whole new face of fear to the middle of nowhere.
Well, yeah, and also Jonathan Beck doing his work as the Creeper is his next level creature suit work. Like he gave him that personality, where like you were saying, it's like what is this thing? Is it a man? Is it a demon? Is it I mean, what is it kind of thing? And he gave that attitude and that smelling the air and licking the glass and stuff and just making it
just
terrific. Yeah.
Classic shit those little where he just make his one lip side go up to do like a half crick smile and then tapping on the glass.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That shit was amazeballs.
Yeah, and he's incredibly nice too. So
right.
You can have that together.
Lizzie says Justin Long is champ. He really is. I mean, that poor guy gets fucked up in every movie.
She likes him in Dodge.
Legit.
Pinches to the face.
You know what? I agree with Dustin on this. He says Justin Long is laughing his way to the bank. And that's totally true.
Oh, yeah.
I was just talking to somebody at the con today about how there is a true art to those that have famous movie deaths.
Oh,
and it is truly an art form for those that can sell it. And that guy's fucking screams of terror was next level, man. Just
looks like look at Sean Bean. Look at old Ned Stark.
Right.
He's been killed in just about everything he's ever been in, and he's been acting for like 20 plus years. He's been killed by Bond. He got killed in Game of Thrones. He gets killed in everything. He's definitely made a career about dying.
Yes, exactly. There are those that can sell it like it legit happened. Like you could feel that shit.
Yeah.
Sitting in the movie theater.
Well, they did that for the Westerns and the different TV shows and stuff like that back then too. It'd be like, I came and died on, Rawhide, and then you go back and it's like, I died 2 more times on Gunsmoke. They just put me in a different outfit and a different hat. And it's like, why did they call you back? Because I know what I'm doing. You did what the director liked. You did your job. And they would just call you back and keep using you. And you got people that made whole careers doing that. And you can watch all these iconic shows back in the day that people's parents and grandparents grew up on, and some of us grew up on. And you see how they got it. I got into the business because I knew this person and I did stunts for this, or said, can you take a fall? Or can you act like you can take a punch? Oh yeah, sure. I did rodeo stuff. Sure. And so forth. So, but they get famous for what they were good at. You want to pay for the best, so you do it.
Hell yeah. Let me see here. Dustin also says it's always the little things, quirks that make a character really stand out. And dude fucking nails it. Any of these actors that are you're always like, he gonna die. Whenever he shows up in a movie, every time it's like something, and it's not always the same thing either. They do it differently for different situations, and it's badass.
Well, yeah, because they gotta change it up because they know, like you just said, you can look at some characters and go, oh, yep, he's gone. Yep, okay, what about 20 minutes? Yep, he's gonna get it.
Exactly.
And sometimes though, nowadays, because you have people like our generation that are making current films that will go, oh, okay, I know the way you expect me to go. So I'm going to go this way at a 90-degree angle diagonally, and just throw you off completely. And I love that because it's like there's so many different ways you could go about doing, like we're talking about, a silent killer. Yeah. So many different ways about it. Like you said, it doesn't have to be a human being. That was never said, And it's like, how are the different ways that you would go about approaching a silent killer?
Yep.
Yeah. I think it's great.
Speaking of which, what is your next pick, sir?
Okay, for the moment, because I'll have to come back to my beautiful ladies. But, we're going to go 2008 Midnight Meat Train.
Damn. This motherfucker right here has been one of my favorite villains in just any type of movie, whether it was a crime drama, a thriller, a gangster film. I mean, shit. And of course, his name is slipping my fucking mind.
Mahogany.
But
Vinnie Jones.
Thank you. Has been in so many sick fucking movies, but this one knocks it out of the park.
Literally. Like right out the skull.
Yo.
Yeah. And it's like, it's exactly for this one is it's like, first off, easier thing, even more than Vinnie Jones.
Yep.
Okay. Clive Barker. I don't got to say more than that, which is also enough for Tony Todd there with what he was able to do with Candyman and give it more life than Clive Barker ever imagined. It happened with that character. And when the creator goes, you know what you did was so much better than what I created. Thank you. That was amazing. You made my stuff better. And that's how he was to Tony, because he knew what he brought to that character and made it his own and became the legend, but he was already a legend before he was Candyman too, though. So
hell yeah.
He was already kicking ass.
So what was it about Vinny's character here that really kind of solidified him? For those out there in the Morgrat universe that didn't maybe see this diamond in the rough.
Clinical brutality. Like meticulous. Precision, yes. Meticulous. It's like trying to figure out why. But you don't even got a point to even question that before you're dispatched.
Right.
It's like just you do not want to come across this individual and you would never know he was sitting right next to you. That's what I loved about it. And also for that one, very claustrophobic settings for people that have never seen it. But it's a very modern thing for people that deal with it all the time. Just not in that scenario, hopefully. Because if so, they're not going to have time to watch the film. They're going to be busy.
Yeah, for sure. I know that's right.
But it's definitely one to see if nobody's seen. Yeah, very much so. Especially gorehounds.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
I mean, it is definitely a nasty bit of carnage. That's for sure. It's very intense. I agree, Lizzie. Dustin says the actor has a great face and body movements for the tough guy and deadly roles he plays. Character actors are really important, and you can make a solid living off of it. If I can say that I can do that by playing some of the most devious, maniacal, characters, throughout, then fucking A, man. But I don't think they do it for that. I think they do it because they fucking have a passion for it, and Vinny brings it every time.
Well, exactly. I couldn't agree more on that one. But also, I think too, which you'll hear many actors say, it's more fun to play the villain. The villain gets more fun. You get more leadway. You get more quirkiness, like Dustin was saying about the quirks of the character. He's totally right. Because that's like if you're going to do an impression of a killer, right? Like, look, if it's Michael Myers, you're going to tilt your head. If it's Jason, you're, pumping that chest and just breathing hard, staring down somebody like you're going to take him out. For art, you're going to sit there and smile at him and just get, close, And that's the whole kind of thing is it's like there's so many different ways to use the body language of a silent killer. And with Vinnie Jones, especially in this one, as like I said, you can't identify him as a killer But there's no way I would say to be able to truly, like, without straight up dressing up as him in full gear, you would be able to tell because he's not that type of killer. You know, it's like somebody could dress up as like Ted Bundy and you'd never know it because he looked like a normal person. You know, it's just what I say is it's like you got, for him, he looks like a normal guy. I mean, scary Vinnie Jones, of course, but still, he looks like a normal guy. He looks unassuming. And then this movie gives you an opportunity to go, well, what if some big dude or some big jack dude went after him? How would he handle it? And they show you how that plays out. And it's well worth the watch if anybody hasn't seen it. And
absolutely, man.
We have to mention for a moment, just because he is an awesome dude and so nice too, Ted Raimi is also in this film. Gotta give it to old Henrietta.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, man.
Fruit seller.
Right. Dustin also says you also get a longer career span as a villain than a hero. You know what? I totally agree with that because truly awesome villains are not easily found. Like,
True.
you know, there is always a high demand for it, and most people always want to play that hero. I will always play a villain over a hero. The only one that I wouldn't, you know what I'm saying? Oh shit, I just lost my train of thought. My bad. An anti-hero. That was the word I was looking for. It fell out of my head. It's been a long day, folks. Sorry about that. So, all right, moving on to the next one. Luna Projects, what's up, girl? So before I get to my big two that are a little bit more recent, I'm going to go ahead and take it back since I know you're going to want to take it back also. This one was kind of one that I think was such a shocker. The first time really that we could honestly say in the horror genre that this was based on a realistic serial killer. And this is the first time one ever really truly graced the screen. We're talking about 1974, people. Nothing like this killer was ever thought of before. No mask, no major weapon of choice. Not to mention, I mean, he likes to eat and wear their skins. So I'm talking about the original Leatherface. Silent as fuck and just brutality at its finest. Shocked everyone.
Oh yeah,
to no avail.
Yeah, that was one of the first films that I'd ever heard of to where people thought they were watching a snuff movie.
Yes.
You know, and it's like, no, it was filmed in Texas with Toby Hooper and Gunner and Ed O'Neill and everybody like Ed Neal and everybody like that, just making movie magic in the middle of nowhere of Texas.
Yes.
But I agree. I mean, it's like it was just like that dead stare that I'm damaged, like I'm mentally damaged in a violent way. You know, it's like I've been raised by people that made me a monster, and I'm going to take it out on you as soon as you cross into my family's property.
Exactly.
And yeah. Great pick. Great pick. Oh, yeah. Icon. And hasn't been touched. I mean, a lot of them, there has been a few that have gotten close with it, and then there's some actors that I think have channeled a very, very badass Leatherface.
Well, and I think one of the best parts of it is music was not the thing that carried this film.
Oh,
It was his movements, his thunderous footprints,
Oh,
and
yeah.
how fast he was to grab a man his size, grabbing these kids up and just
Yoke them
one
up. Yeah, there's
one
nothing they could
fucking
do.
slam of the hammer, and you know what I'm saying?
Oh, when his legs started kicking from the
Yes.
hammer hit, that was one of the most, to me, still brutal kills I've ever seen in a horror film. And I've seen people's heads explode from scanners and, you name it and things like that. But that always got me because my thought, even when I first watched that, was even if he survives this ordeal, he will never be right ever again. Because that caused brain damage. You could tell by he just dropped and just started. Oh man, that's a graphic scene.
Yep.
And it changed horror completely. 100%.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah, that was
Absolutely. So had to pick him, even though that a lot of people know him. I still feel that he kind of kicked it all off.
Oh yeah, very much so. Very much so. And it's like, if Jason, of course, and Michael and everybody like that is going to be in the conversation, he has to be in there.
Absolutely.
Has to be.
Almost more terrifying, in my opinion.
I would rather get probably hacked up with a butcher's knife or a machete than I would a chainsaw.
Right. And that's the thing, that fucking chainsaw.
And he's not gonna do the nice way. He's probably gonna go straight up or straight down like he did to old Franklin. And that's gonna take a minute.
Poor Franklin.
Exactly. He had no chance.
No chance in hell.
And I have been on the highway in the dark in Texas during the summer. You can't see a damn thing. And especially back then,
another large silent killer utilizing darkness.
Yeah.
But was also just as terrifying with the lights on.
Oh, yeah.
Somebody that was able to move in both, because like when we talk about the xenomorph, always in the dark, always hard to see, always popping out. He popped out wherever the fuck he wanted to pop out, when he wanted to, and knew how to hunt his prey. That shit was so crazy to me.
It was. It very much was. And it's like, with one film, they created an entire franchise. Literally a whole mythos, a whole family dynamic, and everything like that you could do literally off of that one first movie. And it has. I mean, how many Texas Chainsaw Massacre films are there now?
There's quite a few.
Yeah, there's
like 5 or 6.
And he was always the one that when it came to number of films, he was the one that always had the lower amount compared to Freddy and Jason.
That's because he was a character that you couldn't just slap something together and say, here you go.
It didn't work. Yeah, it wasn't as interchangeable as...
No, or as entertaining, unless it had to make sense somehow.
Yeah. Yes. Mm-hmm. And it's like, and the first film... it was kind of hard to go anywhere in certain spots with that after it because it was so finite in aspects to the story, and the only thing you could have done was follow her,
right?
And what happened and everything like that, and maybe the cops getting involved and going back there and go from there, kind of like what Rob Zombie ended up doing for his, for Devil's Rejects.
Yep.
Pardon me. Mothball. I have to keep moth from the grip.
Your next Pixar.
Well, I'm going to stay a little bit in the late range right now, too. And I'm going to say He Knows You're Alone, 1980.
Ooh, yeah. Let's talk about this one.
Now, this little gem was actually recommended to me by my dear wife, Ophelia. And this film is, let me put it this way. You know how you always hear the term the jilted lover?
Yep.
Well, think about if the jilted lover found out that the woman that he had wanted to be his bride was getting married, and he
Are
knew.
you still with us, sir?
Yes.
Oh no. Is he back? Are you
Am I
back?
here? I
Are you
feel
back from the dead?
I feel
Okay,
like-
good.
Am I here?
Yep, you're here now.
Okay, I'm still dead. All right.
Now we missed, unfortunately.
Okay.
Let's do
You
a
know
recap.
you're alone. 1980.
Yes.
All right. It would be the case of the jilted lover that finds out that the lady that jilted him is getting married to someone else, and that he can get to her and her bridesmaids, and they're going to be all alone.
Yes.
And it reminded me in a lot of cases of the Prowler. As well. Yeah, it's a pretty brutal one.
Or Prom Night. I think Prom Night
It does
into
have a
this
vibe
category
for
as
Prom
well.
Night as well. I would agree with that. And doesn't say a word.
Right.
Doesn't say a word, but it's also like a really intense kind of film and didn't get any attention.
Right.
It's kind of a sleeper. And I know that
it was kind of, one of those things about the 80s, especially, at the great heyday of the video store.
Oh, yes.
This film didn't get a lot of promotion. You wouldn't have known about it unless you were like me, like Brother Mortimer over there, would literally go through the horror section looking at every fucking box. And then, guess what? You had to flip it around and read the description.
Yep.
So, I mean, it was great, especially as a student at that time. You got to read and you got the kick-assery all at the same time.
Oh, so, yeah, you can't beat the box art cover for those. They were amazing. Yep.
And that's where TV kind of, I think, ruined it for some of us was, we only knew about what was being shown on TV as advertisements. We used to live for that.
Yeah.
Or if you were very astute, like some of us, and reading Fangoria magazine, that was your only ticket.
Yep.
To learning about some of these.
Very much so.
Oh, come on, Lizzie. Really? I thought the Dark Ages was great. I enjoyed it. When the dinosaurs roamed the earth. Awesome. But yeah, so what made this killer so magnetizing?
For me, it was his eyes.
That's another talent.
Very piercing eyes that he looked crazy. It's like if you can give Sid Haig,
yes,
for Spider Baby, you convinced me you were nuts.
It was always, I don't know, for me, the movement of the eyes and where your eyebrows were going is how you could tell what was about to happen. And in this film, he was very slow to bring it down. And yeah, just like that. You didn't know what to expect. It's like 1 minute, you don't know what he's thinking. The next minute, oh shit, he's pissed and I'm dead.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's got a roller coaster vibe to it. It definitely does. And it's just, here we go, one by one.
Excellent pick. So we each got 2 left, and I know exactly which one I'm going to save for last. So there was a film that was kind of like a come from behind victory, like, holy shit, this is incredible. And it was so subtle too, because this particular silent killer was one that didn't materialize very much, but what his maniacal demonic powers could do made him one of the freakiest silent killers ever, in my opinion. Especially when, you know, The Conjuring was coming out and lighting it up, and so was Insidious at the time. This one came right up the middle and said, ha ha! And in this case, I am talking about Bogul from Sinister.
Like
a new face of fear. This demonic child murderer demon that was able to possess the souls of children and make them do heinous things. I thought was fucking brilliant. You know, it's like not every time you saw him do the movement, and suddenly you're thinking you're watching this fucker, as the guy in the film was doing when he was doing his research. He suddenly is now looking right the fuck at you.
Yeah.
And you just got this sense of fear and chill down your spine, like nothing you've really
like,
seen
Pennywise, when they were reading the book.
Mm-hmm.
And the pages flip and it becomes real all of a sudden, the pages, and he's about to reach out and grab you. That's the same kind of vibe, definitely, with that.
We haven't seen that in such a long time, or you know, something that just seemed more realistic, more real, you know.
Yeah, definitely. And it was also for that too, to that end. It's not like he was a ghost or something like that, you know. It was literally like a demonic entity that just feasted on evil, like causing harm. Not even evil, really. More of causing harm to innocence and corrupting innocence and stuff, no matter what it had to do it.
And you couldn't get your hands on him.
Exactly. Yes. No, exactly. It's like it slipped through your fingers. It's like it was almost sand. It's like you try to grab it, and it's that's a really good. Yeah, it's hard to. You can't just like attack your fear like that when it can be wherever it wants to be, or if it's already in you.
Yep, and you never know when it's going to strike, show up, and, you know, say, howdy do.
How are you doing, Steve? Oh, right? Here comes the shovel. Oh, no. Yes, exactly, yeah. You didn't take out the trash. What? Ah.
Right. Scary Movie, I think, had a nice little spoof on that as well. All right, what is your next one, Sam?
Mine is going to be from 2005, and I'm going to say Sin City.
Bam! I'm glad you saved this one for last, because Dustin said about 10 or so comments back and mentioned this film. I was like, whoa, just you wait. Let's tell everybody who may have not seen this film about what makes the silent killer badass in this film.
We have to give it to, first off, the actor, which is Elijah Wood.
Yes.
Creating a character, bringing a character to life. Named Kevin. Kevin was raised by a priest who is not a good priest by any stretch of the imagination and should not be raising anybody.
Are there any that exist?
No, not in this end. And Kevin becomes a cannibal and a killer and doesn't say a single word to the entire film. And you get to see Frodo go crazy on a bunch of people.
In a very messy kind of way.
Yeah, oh yeah. Oh yeah. But they did great with it, and he never speaks. Not one through the whole film. And it's like I had to because like for watching Sin, it's like, okay, you got Bruce Willis, you know, we've got all these different people in this film that I'm familiar with, and I understood the comic series and everything like that. And then it's like once it got to that aspect of that character, it's like, oh wow, okay, so he wanted to show his ass in this movie, and that's what I felt he did with the character.
Anytime.
Nobody was expecting it. You weren't.
Anytime we can see a beloved actor who has played a beloved character, suddenly turns bad. Robin Williams.
Oh yes.
Um,
Oh yeah. We could do a whole entire show on the once he's done.
Oh, I intend on that.
Oh yeah.
Actually.
Easy.
Characters that always play this wonderful, nice person who is suddenly in a film that you just never saw coming, and when you see it, it's fucking disturbing.
Well, that's like a real good example of that. Just a quick mention would be Mark Harmon playing Ted Bundy. Because you wouldn't expect that. That's the guy from NCIS.
Yes.
And he played Ted Bundy and literally looked like Ted Bundy and freaked people out. Like, bad to think that it's like, are you really this guy? And it's like, no, I'm an actor. You know, but it's like, because you don't want nobody to think you're Ted. It's like he was electrocuted. You didn't.
Well, I think people started to catch on to sometimes the scariest coming out of nowhere killer doesn't look like one. Exactly. Leads a regular life and is attractive, and that's why you never see him coming. You never suspect him. Exactly. So for him to step out and do this role, I thought was definitely.
Oh yeah. No, I thought he was genius. Yeah.
Yes. My final pick, I might be a little bit biased, and not just because I love him as a human, as a fantastic actor, and a certified firstborn icon of this time. We got to give it up to probably one of the most deranged new horror icons, and of course it is Art the Clown. David Howard Thornton plays a clown that moves in animation, in the fucking art of miming.
Very much so. Yeah.
And can muster this creepy fucking vibe that I don't think anyone else could have ever done. And gave us Art the Clown, the most sinister, the most terrifying. You know, no pun intended there. Maybe it was. But just, I mean, we've never seen a killer like this.
No.
Never. I mean, of course, people have always feared clowns. There has been other clown films, but nothing compares to the sadisticness of this particular clown.
It's a lot of mind games before it becomes brutality.
Oh my goodness. You don't know. At one point you think he might be just trying to be cute. The next minute he's just trying to make you laugh. And then the next minute, you know, you get split down the fucking middle into two pieces. Yeah. Oh yes, from the wrong end. Yes.
Amazing actors, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, any role this man is in, he brings something to the table, embodies all of these characters, and all the while he just thinks it's fun. And I mean, it's shocking, it's, you know, it makes you feel uncomfortable, but damn it, nobody sells it.
You gotta sell it. Exactly. I mean, if Art doesn't look like he's having a good time, he's not as and terrifying.
Right.
And David's the opposite of Art.
He truly is. He's the nicest fucking guy.
Exactly. Yeah.
Give you the shirt off his back type.
Yeah, he's such a jump between the two. It really is a performance, but he knows how to. I believe with the work that he's put with the character and the time invested, I think he can flip a switch and he's Art the Clown instantly. I really do. Even without the makeup on.
Even without the makeup and the prosthetic and all that.
Yep.
He is Art.
Yeah.
You don't do 3 fucking films of this character and not embody it at the drop of a hat. This man does unbelievable amounts of photo ops, of appearances, and it's that fucking fast with him. This is something us actors could only hope to be able to have that skill. It's kind of funny because the character that I play in the Red Huntress, we have a group chat, the cast and crew, and somebody said something, and then I just real quick, it didn't even think about it, sent a voice clip of one of my lines from the first episode. Perfect voice, perfect inflection, everything. I was like, did I just do that? Imagine being able to be Art the Clown at the drop of a hat.
That would be awesome.
I don't think there was anyone else that could have possibly been able to pull that off.
I think he was destined to play the part.
I do too.
I really do.
I really do as well. It was made for that.
It's like he was walking the path towards the role and didn't know it. But then once him and Damon got together, they knew something. They knew, hey,
that there was magic.
Yeah, people
in that first audition.
Yeah, we've got something here. And I'm glad he was smart enough to realize it and see that in David. And vice versa. They believed in each other. And it's like,
they trusted each other.
Exactly. That very much so.
To have that kind of, relationship. Yeah.
Camaraderie.
Dustin says David deserves all the love he's getting, not just for art, but the Grinch. Yes. The Grinch, the way he should have always been. A maniacal monster.
Right. And also, too, his work as the Joker.
I was going to say,
really great. He was an amazing Joker.
I think what really brings Art the Clown home is the mannerisms of the Joker, and he plays a terrifying one.
Oh, exactly, because he loves the madness. He loves it is the hilarious.
No feeling, no emotion.
Exactly, except for giggles in your pain.
That's right.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like the Joker was always supposed to be at his core a broken character.
Yep.
Mentally, completely like damaged. And they tried to do that with the Joaquin Phoenix one in the beginning. And I understand that, but it's a different level of glee within the bad stuff he was doing.
Yep.
And David understands that. It's the same thing as like Joker doesn't laugh like ha 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 ha.
Right.
Or he. It's like what Mark Hamill was saying. You got to understand the different pitches and how he would do it. And it's like, it's not funny. Oh, I'll just laugh anyway. And lose your mind. He can do that. And I agree. I think that definitely prepared him for art. Very much so.
Yes.
But it's like if Joker had his mouth sewn shut. But you got to keep that exuberant.
Right.
I'm happy to murder you with a big smile on my face.
Yes, with a little bit of joie de vivre.
You gotta have style, He wants to look good, Who doesn't?
Right. Well, everybody out there in the Morgrant universe, that is just a glimpse into 10 of some of many of great silent killers that truly is a difficult thing to do, because you're having to be all movement and creating the tension with those movements, all in how they encompass those that they are preying upon. Exactly. So hopefully, everyone knows Art the Clown. We know that. Most of you have seen it, but there are some tonight that we discussed that maybe you haven't seen, or maybe you ain't seen it in a minute, and you should go back and revisit it just to take in what these killers can do. Because again, Michael Myers, Jason, we already fucking know, but go back and find some of these diamonds in the rough. Not to mention, there are many on the streaming sites, Amazon Prime, Tubi, of course, that maybe you missed them, maybe because they were direct to DVD, which a lot of the best fucking movies are.
Yep.
And now it's not even straight to DVD anymore. It's straight to streaming.
Yep.
So, yeah, I mean, keep your eyes peeled to Bloody Disgusting, Dread Central, all of the great Fangoria magazine, of course, and iHorror. Have it downloaded to your email like I have, because you'll get it before it comes out. You'll know that, hey, this is coming. This is something that was shown in Europe and it's going to tear up the world. I've found so many movies that way. iHorror.com, iHorror.com. That's what it's called. So that's a good way to stay connected.
Yeah.
And there's going to be times where your friend says, or your partner, whoever says, hey, I just watched this fucking disturbing movie. You should give it a shot. Maybe, just maybe, you listen to them, and then you will discover something you never thought you would see. So thank you all so much for joining us on Satanic Saturday, even though it's in different fashion. But join us tomorrow night on Morgrot Entertainment for the great, the illustrious. Are you ready to sin? Are you ready to get moist? Well, we're going to bring it like no other tomorrow night. So join us at 8 p.m. CST for that. And as you guys are continuing on your partying or whatever you're doing, just remember to stay heavy.
Thank you for joining us on Rebirth Underground. Stay tuned for more from Morgrot Entertainment in association with Black Flame Entertainment.